fired.
Ms. Pressley, you've already secured your MSNBC spot tonight.
I'm not
now, your time's required.
looking for
Chair
accountability,
recognizes Ms.
and you
Mace
want to
from
run from
South Carolina.
MSNBC.
Chair recognizes Ms. Mace.
And this administration.
Thank you, Mr.
Chair
Chairman.
recognizes Ms.
And
Mace.
Mr. Chairman, I agree.
You
She's
don't
going to be
care
a great
about
host on
hungry children. You wanna be
MSNBC.
cutting
This is
back.
my
I
time.
wouldn't want to jump in front of Ms.
my
Mace
time.
if I were you, Ms. Pressley.
I reclaim my time. This is my time.
I wouldn't want to interrupt Ms. Mace. It's her time. Chair recognizes Ms.
Mr. Chair,
You're out of order.
she did not get all of her time.
Mr. Chairman,
She wants to insult us for 10 more seconds.
What do
Your
we
time
have
is
to do
expired.
to get this
Chair,
woman in order?
Her time is expired. Chair recognizes
You're
Ms.
going to
Mace.
be great on TV. You're really good. No, baby, you're not. No, baby, you're not. You are not in order. You're out of order. Goodbye. You're done.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, it's my
Ms. Pressley, you've already secured your MSNBC spot tonight.
I'm not
now, your time's
I'm
required.
looking for
Chair
accountability,
recognizes Ms.
and you
Mace
want to
from
run from the
South Carolina.
MSNBC.
What you're about to watch isn't just a heated exchange, it's a political tactic. A member uses a fraud hearing, a serious setting, and turns it into a performance trap. Not to learn, not to fix the system, but to manufacture a viral moment where answer my way is the only acceptable answer. And the second the witnesses refuse to play along, notice what happens next. The tone shifts. The accusations escalate. The rules get challenged. Because when the script doesn't go your way, you try to become the headline. And what happens next shows you why.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me just begin by making this plain. Credible fraud must be investigated and prevented. Every dollar that is stolen from public programs is a dollar that is taken from a child who needs care, a senior who needs food, or a family that is already struggling to make ends meet. Ms. Robbins, I want to just begin with a basic question, and please answer yes or no. When someone is convicted of defrauding the public, do you believe that they should be held accountable?
Yes.
So if we're serious about fraud, then we also have to be serious about accountability. Ms. Robbins, do you mind just expounding, what does accountability look like to you?
We want to prosecute everyone who's committed a crime, and we want to fire officials in the agencies that are liable for allowing the failure of internal controls.
Okay, so Ms. Robbins, let me be more clear. What should happen to fraudsters who steal public dollars?
They should go to jail.
So in my opinion, accountability means restitution. It means consequences, like incarceration, that help ensure that it doesn't happen again, as a real deterrent and accountability. It means that money taken from families and the public is returned to them. But that is not the standard that is being set by Donald Trump, who is wielding his clemency authority to allow fraudsters to escape accountability altogether. Last month, my office published a clemency report titled Trump's Clemency Gap, How Trump's Pardons Are Ignoring the People Who Need Them the Most. I ask unanimous consent to enter this into the record. Thank you. Now to the witnesses who serve in the Minnesota State Legislature on the Fraud Prevention Committee, let's walk through these pardons for fraudsters, and we all care about fraud. So Ms. Robbins, Mr. Hudson, and Ms. Rarick, Donald Trump pardoned George Santos, who defrauded voters and owed them $370,000 in restitution to victims. Raise your hand if you oppose this pardon. Thank you, Mr. Ballou.
Ma'am, I would have to look at the law and the facts of the case. We cannot know the facts of all these individual cases.
Don't deflect. This is a very public case. You know who George Santos is. You know exactly what he did. We just agreed that, fraud is unacceptable. And you just talked about accountability. You said if people commit fraud and exploit the public good, that they should be incarcerated. So this is not a complicated question. So I will give you all one more opportunity. Ms. Robbins, Mr. Hudson, and Ms. Rarick, raise your hand if you oppose the pardon of George Santos.
Not playing this game.
It's not a game. It's real life. It's not a game at all. Okay, but I will take your refusal to go on record, not only as cowardice, but that you do agree with that pardon of that fraudster. Moving on. Donald Trump also gave, and this has never been done before, presidential pardons to corporations that committed fraud. One example is the crypto company BitMEX that violated U.S. law and was fined $100 million. Now raise your hand if you oppose Trump's pardon of this crypto company.
Not participating.
Thank you, Mr. Ballou. Okay, again, I'll take your refusal to raise your hand in opposition. That means that you support this pardon of this corporation that frauded folks to the tune of $100 million.
Refusal to participate is not an
reclaiming
expression.
Reclaiming my
Refusal
time.
to participate
Reclaiming my time.
is
You know
not
the
an
rules of
expression
committee?
one way or
Do you
the
know
other.
the rules of committee? This is my
I know
time.
that I am
Do
here
not speak
as
over
a member
me.
of the public.
Reclaiming my time. You are
that
not,
you
Mr. Chair.
serve.
Mr. Chair.
That's what I know.
You are not in order with the rules of the committee. This is my time. This is my time.
And it's
I
our
ask the
dollars.
questions and you answer, but you're too much of a coward to answer. So we're going to move on. Now, yesterday was the 5-year anniversary, and I want to note of the January 6th insurrection. And on Donald Trump's first day in office, he pardoned 1,500 insurrectionists, including Brian Christopher Mock, who's from Minnesota. Are y'all going to say you don't know who that is? He's from Minnesota. Now, he kicked, shoved, and threw a flagpole at police officers, you know, law enforcement that you claim to support. And he did all of that in the name of fraud. He was an election denier. So an election fraud lie. Now, he claims he did these things in the name of patriotism, but really he's just a criminal. So raise your hand if you oppose Trump's pardon of this Minnesota individual.
Ma'am, this grandstanding nonsense
This is not grandstanding.
exactly
This is
what
accountability.
Minnesotans hate about D.C.
This is accountability, and you are hypocrites. So again, I will take your
Thanks for
refusal to
demonstrating
not
my opening
Mr.
statement.
Chairman,
Reclaiming
order,
my
decorum.
Let's slow down and confront what just happened. Because this wasn't a debate about fraud. It was a debate about control. Pressley starts where almost everyone agrees. Fraud is real, and it hurts real people. Children, seniors, families. That's a strong moral frame, and it's fair. But then she pivots. Fast. She doesn't stay in, how do we stop fraud? She moves to, how do I force a public signal? On camera. That's the key. The yes or no question at the beginning isn't just a question, it's a setup. Because once the witness says, yes, fraudsters should be held accountable, Pressley uses that agreement like leverage. Now she can pull the conversation wherever she wants. And where does she pull it? Not into internal controls, not into audits, not into procurement loopholes, not into the boring technical mechanics of how fraud actually spreads. She pulls it into political landmines and then demands a hand raise. Raise your hand if you oppose this pardon. Raise your hand if you oppose that pardon again and again. But let's confront the reality head on. That's not oversight. That's not fact-finding. That's stagecraft. A hand raise isn't a legal analysis. It isn't evidence. It isn't policy. It's a loyalty test designed to manufacture a clip, and the witnesses refuse. They don't say, I support fraud. They don't praise criminals. They simply refuse the ritual. We're not playing this game. Now, you might agree with them, or you might not. But watch what Pressley does next. She doesn't treat the refusal as, we need more facts. She treats it as, you're a coward, therefore you support fraud. That leap matters because it reveals the modern political machine. If you don't participate in the performance, you're guilty by default. This isn't just accountability, it's coercion by headline. And notice what never gets asked, because the omissions tell you the truth. What evidence is actually in front of you right now? What's the legal standard in this specific case? What reforms stop fraud next month, not next election? Which control failed? And how do we rebuild it? Instead, it becomes, raise your hand, prove your virtue, feed the clip. That is the difference between solving a problem and using a problem. Then comes the second layer, the fight over authority. When Pressley gets pushback, she doesn't just argue substance, she argues structure. This is my time. You're not the chair. That's what happens when someone thinks the rules should bend around their moment, and then the whole room changes temperature, January 6th. Now fraud becomes a bridge to pardons, to hypocrisy, to moral condemnation, and the hearing turns into a showdown. But even if you share her outrage, ask yourself, why is this being handled like a game show? If the goal is truth, you don't need theatrics. You need specifics. If the goal is reform, you don't need hand raises. You need real oversight that survives when the cameras are off. And here's what should bother all of us. When Congress turns fraud into a performance arena, the victims don't get justice. They get slogans, And the system stays broken because broken systems are useful. They keep donors engaged. They keep audiences angry. They keep politicians relevant. So here's the question. Was this about stopping fraud or about scoring moral points on camera? Because the hand-raised trap tells you something chilling. Some people don't want answers. They want submission. Now tell me what you think. Were the witnesses right to refuse the trap, or should they have gone on record anyway? If you want more breakdowns like this, subscribe and comment the next hearing you want covered.